Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Alex. I run Alex Woods Design here on Instagram and Facebook. As you'll notice, I've done like a 30-day design challenge before. I also upload a lot of personal design work as well as a lot of client design work. And I uploaded this piece a couple weeks ago, and I've had a couple of questions on how I actually achieve that effect. So rather than setting up online meetings and showing people how to do this multiple times over, I just thought I'd make a really quick tutorial because this is actually a very simple and easy effect to achieve. So without further ado, let's hop right into it. Alrighty, so let's jump right into this. So essentially, this is what we are going to be recreating right here. This is the original project file I had for it. As you can see, there's really not that many layers. There's not that much editing on this. So I have already created just a new document and imported the image in. And then I'm going to adjust this just a little bit vertically. Makes it look more even to me. And then leave that right there. Alright, so the first step in order to achieve this effect, this is actually pretty much one command the whole time. We're going to go ahead and grab our lasso tool. Handy dandy lasso tool, and as you can see, the edges of the light here actually have some pretty decent definement as far as to where the edge is on this. And for these lighter parts, you can kind of dance around that with certain things like, you know, following this petal where it's at, but that's all going to be settled when we do a little bit of blending here in a minute. So I'm just going to go ahead and then just kind of do a rough outline of where these lines are going to be. And then select the rest of my canvas below because we're making a cutout. Make one layer via copy, and then we're going to make another one just as a backup. And then first thing we want to do, I'll explain why in a second, is we're going to rotate this 90 degrees clockwise. So now we are kind of looking at this from a horizontal angle. Then we're going to go to Filter, Stylize, Wind. And there are three different effects that Wind has built into Photoshop. The first is pretty self-explanatory, Wind. You're getting a lot more of these fine, elegant fade outs that are going in a specific direction. You have Blast, which is going to give you more of the blocky version of that. That's also very well utilized for creating glitch effects like this. And then you also have Stagger, and this is the one that we're going to be using today because, as you can tell with Wind, you're losing some of the detail around here. It doesn't look as three-dimensional, so at least in my opinion, it doesn't look quite as realistic on this specific image. So we're going to be using Stagger because you still have a lot of those lines there. Most of that detail is not lost, and that's going to come in handy for how we have to achieve this effect. There are also two different directions that Wind has. You can do it from the right, which is why I rotated mine clockwise. So when we're going from the right, it's actually going to go the way I want it to go. When I rotate it back, it'll be going downwards, versus if I did it left, it would look like it would actually be glitching upwards. Or you could achieve the same effect, you just rotate it counterclockwise instead of clockwise. So from the right, Stagger, leave it at 100%, and this is what we're going to have so far. And then we're just going to hit OK on that. And one thing Photoshop does have is actually a pretty handy tool for duplicating these. But one thing I want to do real quick to help kind of bring a little more of this out is I want to crank a little bit on the levels here, kind of help all the black stand out a little bit more. And then you can either go to Filter and then click to duplicate the effect, or you can hit Control Alt F, which will apply the same effect again, just on top of the last one. So essentially how I did this one, while keeping a decent amount of details, I just duplicated it 3 or 4 times for the most part. So in this case, I'm going to say that's good right about there. I'm going to come in here, delete all this, kind of cut all that out, make sure there's nothing else behind it. Then we're going to Control T on our keyboard, rotate 90 degrees counterclockwise, and then you pretty much have the effect at this point. One thing we can do is actually scale this up a little bit, because I'm trying to hide a couple of things in here as well, because when blending comes in, we're going to have to be a little more cautious about that. So that'll work. So now we have this image, and as you can see, it's basically just a cutout on top of our other image. So now one thing I'm looking for when I'm going through is I'm going to lower the opacity on this, kind of see where these edges meet and where I want my glitch to start. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my eraser tool here, scale it down. I'm using the soft brush for this one. And then I'm just gonna come through, and you can spend as much time on this as you want. For the sake of time on this video, I'm not gonna try and spend too much time on this process. Alrighty, so this is pretty much where I'm at after I had done a little bit of my masking. As you can see, I didn't go insanely into detail with it. It's just really enough at this point for me to sell this effect. And then one thing I can come up here and do, like all those little last minute changes and stuff. Alrighty, so let's move on. There is a reason I did make 2 layers. One, it's primarily as a backup. Other reason being is that in case anything extra needs to be added, I can go in and do that myself. So we're gonna go rotate this one more time, and you don't have to do this step. I just do because I like a little bit of extra detail in all my work. Helps everything sell a little bit better. It's gonna go down here, and then let's actually real quick apply a quick level so it's linking to the brightest parts of the image. So I want to get rid of as much of that as possible, make it as least blurry as I can. Just go to filter, stylize wind, and then we're just gonna do this one time. Rotate it 90 degrees counterclockwise, bring this back into the image, and I'm going to screen this in. And this isn't really for any particular reason other than to really just maybe help out a little bit of extra detail here and there. I'm not planning on using a whole lot of this. Because we already had those edges cleaned up. I don't need a whole lot. Like I said, this is more meticulous detail than anything else. Alrighty, so now at this point you've pretty much achieved the exact effect I had. One big thing with this though, and this is still kind of my not necessarily gripe with it to a point, are these like lines right here, the harsh light lines where that light cuts off. So I'll move that first layer up a little bit so it looks like it actually is coming in from nothingness. And then what I'm going to do now to kind of help sell this is we're going to go down here, go to color lookup, and the one I used in the original is drop blues. So that's going to kind of level all this blackness out here in the bottom, because if I turn this off, as you can see, you can still tell where there are some harsh lines right here from left over from where I did the effect. As you can see, all this is just some lighting in the original photo. Not too big of a deal to get around. We just need something to help kind of blend this all and glue this all together. So drop blues is really nice. So is fall colors. There's a little more saturation there if you're looking for that. Or the Kodak 5218 preset actually is really nice. But yeah, that is essentially how you pull off this effect. Like I said, not really that hard to do. You can just move things around a little bit, make adjustments as you see fit. But other than that, this is one of the most simple ways to start creating glitch effects within Photoshop. Really simple, really easy to do. And like I said, I'm just bouncing around making like little edits as I see that I need them. So you can really create some cool, interesting results with this, depending on what you're looking for. But that is essentially how I achieved the glitch effect from my first post. And we've essentially, for the most part, recreated it here. So thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate you taking the time to check this video out. Hope you learned something, and go out and if you make some glitch photos or anything like that using this technique that you saw in this video, feel free to tag me at Alex Woods Design on Instagram and on Facebook and show me your work. Other than that, thank you so much for watching, guys, and y'all take it easy.